message are you sending? Okay. Now, what I like to do before I begin is I like to go ahead and go through some introductions, introduce myself, my background a little bit, fun fact, and go around the room if that's okay with you. I spoke to Anthony and John once before, really cool guys, and he kind of gave me the rundown of the criteria of today's meeting and message and today's training. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the introduction and they'll follow. My name is Aaron Douglas. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. Currently living in Concord, which is right outside of Charlotte. Went to school there, learned Spanish there, played college baseball there. And so that brought me here in front of you all today. I've done trainings before, just came back from Vermont. The state of Vermont, helped out a really good construction company there, same topic. So I do this pretty often and I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
I'll stand up.
Yeah, let's stand up. As a matter of fact.
Since we're going to be doing that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm John Rosen, and I've been in the machine tool business now for 50 plus years. So I was born in Ohio, raised in Ohio, live in Ohio, never moved out of Ohio. Tried to move out, but didn't. But anyway, I am the retiring national sales manager at the end of the year for Benz, and so I've been with Benz now going on 12 years. Background's machine tool industry the whole time. So that's who I am.
Nice, John. Nice to meet you, John. Next up.
I'm Chris Mullen. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Eagles. Go Birds.
Go Birds, go Birds.
Excited about that.
Go Birds.
Season's going to be great. This is my second time at Benz. I was here in 2018 and 2019 covering the Northeast. Now I cover the Southeast. Just moved to the Charlotte area last year. Fun fact about me that everyone already knows, I was a rock star at one point. My band was signed to Geffen. I've flown in private jets. I traveled the whole entire world basically playing music. I did that for about 10 years in my early 20s, and I was in a Pepsi commercial, had a multi-million-dollar record deal, the whole 9 yards. It was awesome. So,
glad to have you here, Chris. Glad to have you here.
He broke his guitar string, that's why he's not.
That's why he's not playing no more, huh? What you got? Who we have next?
I'm Mark White.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Thank you. Grew up in Taylorsville, so I crossed the river, moved to the metropolis of Hickory, worked in automation or woodworking or some variants of the two. Most of my career, most of it's been on the design side, then project manager, and now I'm not sure what I do. Wear a lot of hats, do a lot of different things, and hope to be able to assist you. I guess my fun fact is my wife and I were on Wheel of Fortune and did all right. So that was a few years ago.
Nice, Mark. Cool group so far.
Well, I'm boring. I was born in Indiana. I spent most of my career selling plastic injection molding machinery.
Right on.
I've been with Benz now for a year and a half, working as inside sales, working with the quotes, and kind of working in conjunction with project engineering, and enjoying my time.
Right on.
I'm Jason Buchanan, born and raised in North Carolina my whole life. Went to school in Daytona Beach for motorcycle mechanics and dealership management. Worked at dealerships for motorcycles and RVs for 20 years. Was a claims manager, service manager. That's pretty much all I know is service. That's all I've ever done. Been with Benz for 5 years. First time in the machining industry. Trying to bring my know-how from those industries into the machining industry is kind of a battle sometimes, but we're going to get there one day.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Jeff Logston. I've been here with Benz over 4 years. I've been in this industry for over 30 years.
Okay.
I can write G-code, which most of us know what G-code is. I don't think you know what it is. I mean, I can write G-code or write it in Mastercam. I can write a program, or I can install a right-angle head.
Okay.
I've been doing this for a long time. There's a bunch of other industries. I had job offers years ago, but I just love machining, and that's why I stayed in it, because of something I've been doing. So
Nice to meet you.
there's a lot of fun facts, but we'll talk later.
We'll talk. We're gonna talk. Trust me, we're gonna talk,
Yeah,
guys. We're gonna
right
get
on.
so personal in here in just a bit because we have to interact with sales. It's coming. It's coming.
I'm Rocky McManus.
Nice
I've
to meet
been
you,
with
Rocky.
Benz for 7 years.
Okay.
My background is in manufacturing engineering and applications engineering for about 35 years.
Right on. Nice to have you.
Fun fact,
Fun
I
fact.
used to teach dancing and I used to custom paint cars.
What? He
Dance
dancing.
instructor, yeah.
So now, just to break the ice, do you mind showing us a dance with a little tango really
You
quick?
ain't gonna get that.
Ah! Come on, Rocky, what's up, baby?
That's big money.
That's big money, huh? Let's give me something next. Good to meet you, Rocky. Good to meet you, Rocky. It's good to have you.
He's also a renegade.
Okay.
So my name's Tim Consolvi. I'm the incoming national sales manager.
Okay.
I've been sober for 8 hours. No, I've been in the machine tool industry for 44 plus years.
Right on.
And this is my 7th day with Benson, and I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful.
No, I really need to.
Yeah. Anthony, come on, join the group.
I'm Anthony Dehart. I was born and raised in Hickory. I've been in tooling of some sort, whether wood or metal, my whole life.
Right on. Thank you, guys. That was a great introduction. Also, let me give my sales background and introduction as well. So I started doing commerce or exchange at 13. I'm not that old, as you all know today, but I do have been doing it some time. Just like many of you. Started at the corporate Fortune 500 level at 17. Just finished up with Northwestern and doing business brokering now at 23. So I do want to clear the room and get the air and the age out there too. Done many sales from Fortune 500 all the way to Fortune 90. I'm selling anything from digital marketing, everything from insurance and financial security products, many different things. So that gives my background there and how I moved up the ladder so quickly. So I'm looking forward to getting started today. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we begin? Anybody have anything? Let's get going. What are you thinking, Anthony? Everything good?
Everything's good.
Let's do it. Oh, one more thing too, as I click the next slide, which talks about our schedule. So I want to talk about my philosophy and my training philosophy, so you guys know how I'm going to guide you all and direct you all today. So it's going to be very interactive for a couple reasons. One, I found in teaching many different people that the best way to grasp it is through doing it here today while you learn it. Right? There's a lot of people that have pen and paper that take notes all day, then they go back to their corporate offices and they lose it all. Right? So today's job is we're going for results. The way we do that, like I said, John, is we're going to be very interactive. How's that sound so far? Cool. By the end of today, we will be quite close, not only because it's a small room, but because we're going to be very interactive and focused. And I'm excited to go. John, everything good? Good. All right, here we go. So here's today's schedule. As you see, I have nice Ben's tooling over to my left. Really nice people there. The schedule, we've got an 8:30 a.m. start. Okay? 8:30 a.m. start. We're going to go ahead and do a break at 9:30 and a break at 10:30. Usually about a 10-minute break, get you guys out the chairs, get you guys moving around and breathing. After that, about an hour break at 12. We're going to have a 2 o'clock. We're going to have a daily review at 3 and a 3:30 end of day. Okay? Right there, that's the schedule. I'd like for everybody to know the itinerary. There we go. Now I'd like to read something right here that I got off you guys' website. All right? I was doing some research. I was interested. And Ben's Tooling is one of the world's leading, so let me read that again. World's leading manufacturers, phenomenal, right? And suppliers of components and systems for tool and machine technology. Now, by the way, since I am new to it, and Jeff, you was yielding to that earlier, could you explain, so systems for tool and machine technology, what is it that you all do on the daily?
We sell tools to CNC machine that fit on CNC machines,
Okay.
on machine centers and lathes, for lathes with live tooling so you can mill or drill on a lathe, or to do right angle machining on machine centers.
Right
So
on.
the lathe, you know what lathe and mills are?
I think I've heard of it,
Have you
but
seen,
not
you're a
much.
baseball background, you see how baseball's made, a bat's made?
Oh, they spin them.
They spin it, that's it, that's how I always explain, everybody's seen a bat made on TV.
Yeah.
But we're making aerospace or widgets, or, any company can be making anything from a widget to the most intricate aerospace part you can ever dream of.
Right on. Wow. Man, thanks for explaining that so clearly, Jeff. That was really well. Another thing I wanted to point out and give to respect to you all, you guys are in over 30 countries from what I saw, and it's a worldwide company. I gotta say, first off, phenomenal. Good work, man. It's good work. I like that. I respect that. Right? Let me go ahead and go to the next one. We're gonna go ahead and move on. So boom. So we have some housekeeping rules today. Housekeeping rules. Anytime I keep it interactive and personable and very active, I love to do my housekeeping rules. Right? First rule number 1, during our discussions and activities today, right? Let's make sure that we let each person finish their thought process and wait until the person speaking is completely finished before interjecting. Now, the reason, guys, I have that up on the screen is because in just a bit, we're going to do a lot of discussions, right? A lot of negotiation together, right? And one. Anthony and John probably use this example as well, right? So we want to make sure that things aren't as heated. We'll let one person finish and the other person speak after that, okay? Next thing we have 2. Let's make sure all phones are all put away unless we're using our phones for a guided activity. Obviously, Anthony, he's doing his own
I
thing.
just got to get this one for Haas, and I'm.
You got Johnny? Okay, you're good. But all phones, guys, yeah, it's going to be very interactive. No phones during this session today. When we leave the room, let's excuse ourselves quietly and make sure everything sounds good. So just quietly, just walk out if we need. Okay? I'm going to wait till everybody. We all good so far? Everybody? Good. Let's see everybody from the phone to it. Ooh, yeah. So now we have a team building activity. I like to start with the team building activity because it gets the blood going and then everybody flowing. Yeah, here's what we have, everybody. So there's this exercise I like to do, and I know we're a more mature group, but it's an exercise where I like everybody to kind of stand in line for a amount of seconds. So I see about 10 seconds to stand in line. Now, I still want to do the exercise with you all, but it is going to show how you all work together. And the goal here is to do that without speaking. Okay, so let me recap one more time before we begin. John's already smiling up here looking at it. You see him, he just staring at it. I told you I'm going to bring that heat.
I'm ready to run.
So the goal is, guys, and what I'm going to do is...
Now I'm ready to run the
You
race.
ready? Let's go. It's going to be on this side of the room. The goal here, guys, is to stand in a single file line, right? Shortest to tallest without speaking. Great icebreaker, great team exercise to begin with.
Let's do it.
You ready? On the count of 3, you get 10 seconds. Whenever I start counting, because I'm going to catch you all. 1, 2, wait. Everybody started over. Anthony fired up too early. I didn't even get 3 out of my mouth. Here we go. Team building exercise number 1. 1, 2, shortest to tallest, cannot speak. 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We heard Rocky. Everybody have a seat, let's do it again. We're gonna do this 3 times until we get it right. Oh, this is good. Everybody have a seat? Everybody have a seat? This right here, guys, is gonna build, it's gonna be a good day. Let's start it over. First off, rule number 1, what are we not doing? We're not speaking, all right? I heard some Rocky come in there and say some things as he's trying to slide on by. We're not speaking, okay? Here we go again. The goal is to not speak. And this time, to make it a little bit harder, you get 6 seconds. You're like, Aaron, what's the point of this? Why are we starting our day kind of like running the line? Like, what's the point of this, right?
We have to expose our sensory skills.
That's one answer. Anybody else have an answer? What's the point of this? What's the point of this? Exposing sensory skills. John, you have an answer?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Kind of teamwork a little bit?
A little bit, because I want to lighten the mood before we get into things. That's one answer. And Anthony, you were right. Anybody else have an answer as to why this is important and why we're doing this as salesmen?
You need to observe the area around you to see what's going on.
Okay. Any last answer? Give me one more answer. You guys are smart. Give me one more answer. Why are we doing this? What's the point? Why are we standing in a line doing team building exercises to start the day?
Get some blood flowing.
Sure. Well, those are all
build unity.
That's the main reason we're doing this, is to build this unity, right? Today's going to be very interactive, so let's lighten it before we begin. Now we have to go 6 seconds, and on the count of 3. No speaking. This time, tallest up here to shortest in the back. Ooh, I like my fellas in the back. They're ready. I see nothing but hands on chairs. Anthony, I love this, baby. Here we go. 1. Matter of fact, let's count down. 3, 2, tallest to shortest, 6 seconds. 1, go. 1, 2, move it. 3, 4, 5, 6. Rocky's late again. Oh, Rocky. So here's what we're gonna do. One more time. Now, one more time. Now, Rocky, we don't want you late this time because the person that's late has to do something in front of the group. Everybody have a seat. One more time. Everybody have a seat. Rocky, don't be late this time. He sat right there. Don't be late. The last person.
Now you're thinking.
Now, there we go. So now I'm seeing the interaction. I see this chemistry pick up. You see this chemistry? So we're getting aware, right? Different people making different moves. Here we go. Same time, 6 seconds. Same tallest to shortest in the back. 6 seconds. Team building exercise. Focus on building unity. Build rapport with your neighbor. right? Work together. That's the focus. Here we go. 1, 2. No, Anthony, not that easy. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Woo! How we doing? Show this time. Everybody give yourselves a round of applause. That's what I'm talking about today. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody grab a seat. Nobody was late. Nobody was late. And I gotta say that I'll wait till you all grab a seat. I'll wait till you grab a seat. Get a water if you need to. That didn't mean
Tim was hustling.
That's how I wanted to start it. That's exactly how I wanted this to begin. Right. Once again, everybody, John was right. The goal of this today was to do some team building exercise to start the day. Right. Get you guys kind of working together, right? Nonverbal communication. Everybody knows about that in sales. Is that safe to say? Right, picking up on the rapport of the other person, kind of doing like, right? Similar things like that. And so how did that feel? How did that exercise feel? Kind of couldn't speak, but you were forced to kind of work together without speaking. Took away communication. Anybody?
To me, I think it was easier for the tallest and the shortest. I think it was probably a little bit more difficult for the middle to find out. Like, I know I'm tall, he knows he's tall. So I mean, I think everybody probably had a little bit different situation. I knew I was going to the tall one, and a few people like Rocky was even looking. You know, people in the middle, I think they had to look around and figure it out a little bit more.
Right on, right on. Great answer. We're going to talk about that in a second. Anybody? Let me get 2 more. Let's go 3. We have 1. How did you feel about that? How did you feel? How did you interpret that exercise? Nonverbal communication, lining up in a line.
We could accomplish a goal without speaking to one another.
What did that take? What does it take to do that? Right? What did that take, that exercise take for you to get that done? What did that take?
Visualization.
Bingo. Wow, y'all made it good. Keep going. What else? What else?
A little bit of hustle.
A little bit of hustle. So it took some work, some effort on the back end. Keep going.
Avoiding the fullback that was charging me to get around me.
If, you know,
I thought
yeah,
it was,
I didn't tell me that was such a funny group. And John, they didn't tell me this was a funny group now. Avoiding the fullback.
Oh, but you were like my lead blocker. I was like, get out of the
You
way.
say you were my lead blocker.
Like, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Get over there.
Yeah, come on. No, but the point of that too is if you hear your responses to one another right now, you'll begin to hear that they're kind of what we do in sales every day. Trying to work around problems, avoiding the going around the fullback, working together. So sometimes through the phone, right? Hearing responses, reacting to different things. These are different things that we pick up on the daily. Anybody else? How did you feel? Let me get one more person. How did you feel? How did that feel? How did that feel? What other tricks did you use to get the job done here? What other instincts were you aware of?
Pre-planning and kind of looking over the crowd, pre-planning where you're going to fit in the.
That was amazing. You're really good at that. So you observed. So you observed, you pre-plan, you said, okay, X, Y, Z to execute the plan, right?
Yeah.
That's a part of what we do every day. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving.
Yeah.
Was it challenging? Was that challenging? Was that rigid? Was that challenging, Anthony? Was it?
Probably the first time.
First time. Okay. Anybody else?
We had to make some adjustments on where we sat to be in a better position to the next time we did it to be where we needed to be.
Wise man. He had to make adjustments. One more. One more. Was that challenging? And if so, what's something you used to did anybody help out their partner? Is there anything they slid out the way? Did they open the door for the next man? Did they help the next man?
There was teamwork involved.
There was teamwork involved. So customer service.
Non-verbal teamwork involved.
Right on. So the salesman, in this case, as an example, kind of reached out to the customer service people sometimes. So we saw 2 different units work together. Is that safe to say how that correlates to sales? Mm-hmm. So we work together, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's keep moving. Today, my course objectives. Now I'm gonna go ahead and read them. It's a lot of words. This is my commitment to you today. Okay? Now it takes 2 parts. All right, this is gonna be a shaking hand relationship. I hold my hand out, John holds his out, he gives it right back. So my commitment to you all today is this. All right, today we will have practiced communicating via tonality. Anybody familiar with tonality at all? Anybody have an idea? Right?
Yeah, the tone of your voice.
Tone of your voice.
How you feel about something or yeah.
Okay, inflection, deflection, things like that. So today, leaving here today, you would have practice tonality, body language, language structuring, and also, AKA, I call it language play. Okay, now, as we all know, this is what we do in sales, right? A lot of sales departments tell their sales team, they give them a script. Do you all have a script? Is that how you all do it? How do you all do it? You know, a lot of companies have scripts, especially the Fortune 500. How do you all do it?
Lie, cheat, and steal.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Look at that. He closed his eyes. He's like, oh. Because we're about to get into it. We're about to get a little focused. So he should.
Our sales are solution based
Yeah.
for the most part, so we have a lot of active listening going on, and that's we don't use scripts because we can't use a script because every situation is completely different.
100%. 100%. And that's actually where I was gonna head with that. It's like, honestly, like today, there's no script. Right? I mean, everything's different. Right? I didn't know who I was going to speak with exactly, how many, the room type, we switch rooms. Everything is situational. I like how you brought that up. Right? And it sounds like from you all's standpoint, it's more of a consultative sales approach. Is it safe to say? Understanding the problem, getting solutions. Solid, stay there, stay there. Let's keep moving. So that's line one. Number two, the next thing you'll take from me today is some time management skills. Right? In sales, we already know different calls coming in, a lot of things to do. I don't know if you all cold call, some companies cold call as well. A lot of different tactics on marketing. Keeping time management skills, where you are today and how to increase your personal productivity, right? So we're gonna look at where you are today, like what are you doing on the day to day, and how tomorrow, when you wake up, right, or let's say Monday of next week, you have more productivity. Right, well, actually tomorrow, we'll be in training. Next thing up, how to influence others using gestures and effective emotional communication. I'm gonna stay there for a second. How to influence others. Influence others using what? Gestures and effective communication. What does that mean? Using gestures, effective communication. What does that mean? Rocky, why are you laughing?
Looking somebody a bird.
Oh, man. Oh, this is gonna be a wild team today. This is gonna be a wild team today. Okay, so
I think they're gonna split you and I up here.
yeah. I think what we're gonna have to do is get you over here. No, it's all good. It's gonna be interactive. It's all good.
First thing went through my mind.
Okay, how about another answer, right? Gestures and emotional communication, effective communication. What does that mean to you?
Well, the first thing is with emotional communication is you want to elicit an emotional response because that will lead to fear of not making the change that needs to be changed.
Right.
Whether that may be in gestures, if you have your arms crossed or you have certain gestures that you do have a negative connotation, and there's a lot of positive gestures you can use to make the customer feel more open to communicate with you.
Right on. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna stay there with you on that. Talking about gestures and emotionally connecting with someone, I'm going to do expression, right? I'm going to express in just a second, and I want you guys to pick up on what I'm putting out there, okay? Here we go. So I'm a client, right? Maybe you guys work with the high C-level executives. Is that who you're selling to just about for solutions?
Not necessarily.
It varies, yeah.
It varies?
From the guy on the floor all the way to the president.
Right on. Let's do this right here. Let's say I'm a president, right? I'm a young president for a nice solution company out in the Midwest, right? I'm meeting in front of each and every one of you today. You guys are the salesmen, or the businessmen, or the solutions, or the consultants, however you put it, right? What is this saying? You're talking to me about the product. Actually, give me your pitch. Let's say I'm a young company, been going about 10 years. Let's say at this point I'm about 35, 40, and I'm looking for a solution. Give me your pitch. Let's start there. What's your pitch?
Okay, well, we'll assume that you need some right angle heads from some aerospace work. I would say, we can provide tooling that will allow you to increase your productivity and also,
I'm going to do responses. Your job is to receive that and interpret that and play with that, and that's why we're here today.
Sure.
Anthony and John, that's why we're here today. Is so how you saw how I reacted, and you
absolutely. Immediately knew that you were closed off.
Okay, so let's keep going. How do you sell to that? Keep going. Sell to that. I'm closed off. Sell to that.
So your goal at your company is to increase efficiency and create revenue for your company.
Sure.
And what our tooling allows you to do is lower your cost per unit, which will lead to more revenue for your company.
What is this saying?
As you're thinking about it, you are contemplating. Probably
Still doubtful.
Yeah.
I'm inquiring. I'm interested enough, but I'm not there yet. Good pickup here, Anthony. Just keep selling to that. So you're seeing these things. The goal here is to see me do this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And for you to react accordingly, instantly. Now, I remember the first time I did it, your body literally jerked. Is that safe to say? You jerked back.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that with a customer, right?
Sure, right? But we're gonna make sure we don't do that with a customer here, and that's why we're here today.
Of course.
That's why we're here today. So let's keep going. So you're selling to me, right? I'm still rigid. I'm inquired. I'm interested. Keep going.
I'll say, well, Aaron, let me ask you a question. What are the things that you're having issues with when it comes to your cell doing your gen engine housings?
All new to machinery, guys. I would say something like, honestly, and this may be far left, but don't take this too far. Honestly, something's just broken. Something's wrong, right? Do you guys actually have someone to come check it out and then give me advice? Is that something you all do?
Well, we do that, but really what I want to find out is really the specific problem. So if you don't correct this problem, how does the future look for your company?
Honestly, it's costing me thousands, hundreds of thousands, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I've been looking at making a change. Now there are competitors, right? Your competitors. I've heard a lot about you all, of course. One of the top companies out there, Ben's Tool. And looking at your competitors as well. So what helps you all stand out? I know you're looking at the problem here, but what helps you all stand out?
We know that our competitors also make great products.
Sure.
I'm here to sell a solution. Regardless of the product I sell, you have a problem and I have an answer for you. So I really want to get to the bottom of the issue and kind of discuss that and see what I can do for you to make your life easier and for you to generate more revenue.
I have a question. What's the cost at that? I know you're giving and you're being nice and you're going to give us the solution as you just said. What's the cost? What's your range?
I would prefer not to speak about cost because we really don't know what the solution is at this point. I'd rather take a look at what the issues are in your shop and then come up with a solution that will work for you and within your budget.
Good. Now to go to that exercise, we're doing objection handling later. So that wasn't the point, not to hear your responses right now. It was to see how you reacted to me twisting, turning, and just closed off. Everybody, let's give him a round of applause right now. That was a great start. That was a great start. But honestly, as Anthony and John look at you, that was a great start. But once again, the goal of that exercise was just to be visual, right? At first, it startled you a bit. And then you came back around 2 times after that and carried away with that.
Oh, it happens all the time. It's
Yeah.
just usually there's a looseness to the conversation, and right off the bat, there's not usually such closed off rigidity to it,
Sure.
because we skip the whole part of where I schmooze them and they become my best friend, which I've told you.
You're a smoozer. We don't smooze. Got you. So that's another thing you're going to take today. Right, and like I just said, right, what it means to overcome objections. So I love that part the most because I like to go deep into problems, right? That's almost like philosophizing a little bit, right? What they're really saying, we all know is not really what they mean, and they don't understand. And there's a lot under objection handling. I'm looking forward to doing that with each and every one of you all today. That's going to be fun. I can't wait. Right, how to overcome them practically is the way I like to say it. We're going to define our customer, right? What does our customer look like? What are they looking for? What is the customer journey? How do they feel? What do they want? What do they think they want? And what do they actually want? Right? A lot of times I go to the store and I don't know about you all, but I go in wanting something and come out with something else, right? So it's understanding the customer process here at Ben's Tool. Okay? Let's keep moving. And last but definitely not least, right, how to actively listen. And you did a great job there. You took everything I said, so you were ahead with objections. But you took everything I said, kind of played with it and went your own route. You deflected, went a different route. I like that a lot. Anybody have any questions so far on what we're going to have for our takeaways from today? Solid? John, any questions? Solid. Let's keep moving, guys. Let's go ahead and get into the weeds of everything. So there's a discussion we're going to have. And it's an icebreaker. Now, guys, I like to say my discussions are amongst us all, right? So a lot of discussions are client to speaker. We're going to do it together. Right, here we go. 5-question icebreaker. The first question I have for each and every one of you, right? What is the difference between hearing and listening? Let's slow down, right? What's the difference between hearing and listening? Well, I showed him, let's get about 3 people. Actually, let's start a conversation with about 2 of you. Just kind of blurt it out, whatever you feel. What's the difference between hearing and listening?
Hearing might be more, you're hearing what they're saying, but you're thinking what you're gonna say back to them instead of we're listening. So it's listening, hearing the whole subject, then replying.
Anybody else have any
Wow,
feedback?
it's funny. I was just thinking the same thing when he said this.
Same thing? Anybody?
No. There was a day. That's what he says. I do that to him. He does that to me, and yeah, we just have this little.
This Jeff and Anthony here thing is. No, let's stop playing. Okay, anybody have any feedback to that? Let's counter that. Any feedback? Anything to add? Hearing and listening. And what I want us to do, fellas, is I want us to take this even outside of this room and take this into our day-to-day activities, even outside of Ben's Tool, right? Hearing and listening on the day-to-day.
Listening is intentional.
There we go.
Hearing, I can hear anything. I hear a cricket out there, it doesn't matter. I'm
Sure.
hearing it, but when I'm listening, I'm digesting that information.
I have a question. Is it safe to say that hearing is more instinctual?
It's passive.
It's passive. Well, yeah, you're passive and active. Yeah, you went the easier out there saying that, Anthony. No, you're not gonna get away with that. But yes, it is passive. So instincts are more passive, right? So it takes less effort on our part. Let's figure out what's going on here as we lead the day. The listening is going to take less effort on our part if it's passive. Active, we have to be thinking and listening and really aware of what we're listening to. And as salesmen, as we all know, I love sales just like you all do. This is something we have to do on the daily, right? Or it affects our numbers. Anybody have any experience or example recently where they did some active listening and it really proved a point? Maybe in a sales call recently, or when you met with the client recently, have an example?
Yeah, I was up at the satellite tool with Cal,
Sure.
and we were looking at a machine, and he had a large right angle head in there, and we were talking about what the application was going to be, and it was going to be some light milling.
Okay.
And then he mentioned, quickly in passing, that one of the cycle times was 12 hours. So he didn't emphasize any of that information, but that information I had to actively listen for because he did not want to talk about that because he knew that he was trying to get a better deal on a head, because if you have shorter cycle times, you don't have to add what we call the oil mist lubrication.
Okay.
So if I could have missed that information, but I was actively listening to what he needed and was able to recommend something he didn't even know he needed.
I love that point. As a matter of fact, I want to stay there. I was doing some consulting for this company named Scholarly out of Australia. And they're a tutoring company. And what happening is they told me that, Aaron, the difference between selling and consulting is that there are more implications. The way you listen and imply, hey, he may need this or that, and then you put that solution together, implying is a lot of the middle that they don't teach or talk about. Is that safe to say, Anthony? John? Right, so the implication, we're going to practice that today. So as a matter of fact, let's practice that now. Imply. I'm going to say something to you, and you're going to look beneath the surface and tell me what it actually means. I want to come in today, John, but man, I just have a lot on my schedule. What does that mean? What am I really saying? I want to come, I want to be there. So the one is there, but I have a lot on my schedule. What is that?
I got other more important things to do than spend time with you.
Let's keep going. That's one thing. Good job, Jim. More important things to do.
I really don't want to be there.
Yeah. So I was going to ask about value. Does he see the value going in compared to the other things? It seems like not, right? So it's not valuable there. Let's keep moving. What's something else? Give me one more.
I think that it's, when you said value, it distorted my thought. Because I was thinking that you haven't given him enough information as to why he sees, but the value is the word that I was wanting to use. You know, he doesn't see the reason why time with you is important.
How many times do we hear that on the daily as salespeople? Right? I'll call you back. No, they don't pick up, right? Is this happening to you all, or did it just happen to me when I was on my call?
It always happens.
Okay, it always happens, right? So it's value proposition. I'm sure you guys are quite familiar with that. Value proposition, right? Making ourselves seem like the consultant or the authoritator here, like we're the expert, right? Speaking to a lot of different clients. Value proposition. Wow, that was big. Y'all heard that. Wow, we got that from just the first one. It's going to be a good day. Anybody else have anything they want to say on the difference between hearing and listening, or how they're seeing that in their day-to-day
Yeah,
life?
I do.
Okay.
Good. And I think this is an important part because we sit, and try to multitask.
Right.
And when you're multitasking, you can't be listening.
100%.
You can be hearing. So if you're sitting there doing this and you got a phone in your ear, and you're talking to somebody, and you're doing this, you're hearing, but you're not listening.
100%.
You know, and that happens in this world a lot.
Yeah, hearing is listening to respond, listening is listening to understand.
Right on. I have a question. Have you all ever done an active listening training or anything like that? Is that you have? So okay, they have active listening training. Not
I don't think as a group that.
No, not.
Maybe individually,
Yeah,
just about.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna test those skills in just a bit. I like that. So let's go on to number 2. Right. Once again, this is a discussion, icebreaker, get our blood flowing, get our minds already going.
I have a question.
What's up?
What's your take on people that say, I need the music playing in the background?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm one of those. I'm actually, guys. I know I'm a younger guy, but I actually have a old school approach where I don't like. I put like my phone and laptop, like laptop for CRM and phone on the desk, and that's it. There is no music. There's no. I'm in a closed room. Now that's personal preference. As you see, I started with I. I believe that one should do whatever they need to do to get the results they need to get. So for some people, if that's music, that's music. If they're getting high results, they're closing deals. I mean, I doubt we want to stop that, right? I mean, we don't want to stop that revenue from coming in. So it's honestly an individual approach, and one has to find it. For example, with Northwestern Mutual, when I was there in those nice offices, that was more of a music approach. I played light music, a little bit of classical, kept the energy up as I was getting rejected on insurance or financial products, right? But when I was with USA Today, right, the Fortune 500 selling different digital marketing and SEO optimization, no music. Right, so it just depends on your field. Everyone's different, but once again, the reason I'm here too, and the reason we're bringing this up is because it's a results-driven game, as we all know. We're in sales, right? And so with that being said, whatever gets the results, I'm one of those guys, right? I get the cool stuff, they're fancy. I get the right, whatever gets results. For me, it's either it depends on the company, it depends on the style, it depends on the CRM. But when I find it, I find it. Music or not. Anybody have a touch on that?
Yeah, music definitely helps me focus.
Oh, you're
because I'm a musician.
You're a rock star. I hope so, right? You're a rock star.
And I worked at a company actually that was the #1 independent electronic distribution company in the world.
Right on.
And there was 120 salesmen with no walls, and they blared music. And these guys were, $1 million orders were coming in. They were focused. We used the music as a team building thing, because we were able to each sell, when they sold a certain amount, they were able to choose the style of music that was being played, so that motivated them. And then sometimes it was a little distracting on the phone, but at the same time, the positives outweighed the negatives in that job.
100%. Anybody else have a nice experience? Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, every dealership I've worked at always has music playing. It helps me, like Chris is saying, it calms me down whenever I listen to music, and I can focus and get more done.
Anybody else? And Anthony, I would like your take on music too, since you asked the question. I want to know what's your take on music and sales.
It's off, you know that. I'm doing 6 things at the same time. I don't want the interference.
Right on.
And I understand, I think it's individually, like if somebody's doing 6 things at one time, but like you just said, John, you should be doing one thing at a time. You shouldn't be emailing and doing this, where if you're doing 6 things at one time, that music's gonna throw you off. But I mean, you should be, if you can concentrate on one thing, music's not going to,
It's kind of like muscle memory to me. Like when I have music in the background, I don't think about the music. I just know it's playing. I'm hearing. I'm not really listening to understand.
And I like
Right. It's like passive listening, is it?
Yeah.
and that helps you concentrate on one thing and finish that one thing you need to get done.
And I listen to driving type music that has a lot of momentum to begin with, so that pushes me.
Because you're a rock star.
Yeah, so I was thinking.
The faster and the heavier it is,
Wow.
I get into it.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
That would be distracting.
Oh my goodness.
And quiet distracting. Quiet makes me think about all other things that I.
Unless your mind travels a little
Yeah.
I
bit.
think your comment is right. It is up to the characteristic, personality, and the mental aptitude of the individual.
Right on. Like tonight, when I do my calls, because Australia's about 14 hours ahead of us, I think, total 14, no music. Right? There may be a night where there is music. Right? So honestly, it just depends. And Anthony, you sat with that point with me. Like, it really just depends on the situation, the person, circumstances. Also, for me, sometimes, I don't know about you all, but maybe you guys experience this, where it depends on the number of leads. Right? If it's a lot of leads, I'm just trying to, if that's his style and rock gets him going, the louder, the more high pitch, you got more leads, it will help you in your case, and you can deliver better results. So everybody is a different circumstance. One more story, one more experience.
But I would say that if I was to do music in the background, just as a comment, it should be only for me to hear it, because I don't want it going across the phone, because I don't know what music would be disruptive to the person on the other end of the phone.
I think that's
Sure, I
obvious.
turn mine off.
Yeah, I think that's obvious. Without saying
Should
anything.
be
I
never
listen
be
to
on.
music and you pause it, whatever we call
In a
it.
customer call, it should
Yeah.
never, ever be on.
Well, that was what's weird about that company. I mean, it was blatant.
That's weird about it.
They were crushing it. I mean, there was guys they would do $10 million deals. In one deal with $10 million with blaring music in the background.
Tell them about that booth to the straight across.
Well, okay, yeah,
Side-
so there's a
side,
company, a big cutting tool company that
Okay.
blares music at all the
Yeah,
conventions.
it's beyond Blair.
Yeah, it's
They
like,
had,
it's like deafening.
what are those booster
Yeah.
amps?
It's just really distracting when you're, you know, trying
The
to
floor
talk to
was
people.
Shaking? No, no, no.
Well, they got in trouble, yeah, they got in trouble. But
He said they got in trouble.
They got in trouble, but at East Tech, they were pretty quiet.
Same thing at PMTS, they turned it down.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You good, you good.
But yeah, when it's not on, I get distracted.
Yeah, John, I think it's without saying, nobody has music on when it's playing. I mean, I have an earpiece on, and it's, I have one earpiece, so I can have this to the world and this to music, and then when my phone rings, it automatically shuts off because I'm on the earpiece, so yeah. I think everybody here goes without saying, none of us play music while we're on the phone.
No.
Or if you guys walked into the office, you probably turn it down too, so you know.
Right on, right
I
on.
don't play music.
See, every style, it's a
I
style
don't
thing.
either.
It really is a style thing. I've seen, man, this guy named Matt Occupenti with Northwestern guys. Phenomenal at his job. Goodness gracious. He's a no music guy. He'll sit there in the back, because he earned it, right? He's sitting in the back, phone, laptop, all day, that's it. I'm like, my goodness, I need some sort of something in some days, you know. So it's a different preference, and that's holding up the conversation for a discussion. Also, John, I want to say another thing too, is you're going to find out that a lot of my training and teaching as I come back and as I talk to you all today is more interactive, because it's not about throwing anything new. Obviously, you guys have been on this earth a lot more than me. It's more like finding out the middle, right? That implying to be a better consultant, give better sales pitches and solutions, right? It's the little things that we're here to talk about and uncover today, and that's why this is going to be important.
Yeah,
Let's keep.
Before we leave it, I will
Okay.
say that when I'm working, I've got a wood shop hobby.
Okay.
And if I'm just, you know, cutting wood or assembling stuff, I got music playing. But if I'm laying out a project, you know, where you have to focus on making sure all the pieces are gonna fit together, linked, the music is a major distraction.
Yeah, tinkering is one thing, work is another. I am just like you.
And I think we all gotta be open that everybody's different.
Yeah,
We're not robots, we all can't be, you know, whatever you say.
Yeah.
We're saying, no, I'm doing it a little bit different. I mean, because some of us, even in sales, have more of a technical background, some are more of a used car salesman. We have to fit.
The mold.
Yeah, you gotta fit the mold. You can't, there can't be a rule for all, because we're all brought up differently. I mean, we had meetings yesterday about, we're not, I think you were talking about the, everybody gets a prize, or everybody gets an award, everybody gets a trophy. You know, but that's the industry we're in right now. I mean, not me, but that's me. So I mean, if I'm selling to somebody 65 years old, I might go more of a, you know, not everybody gets a trophy approach. But when you're selling these 32-year-olds, they grew up. I mean, that's what I mean. You have to adapt. Like we talked about earlier, like even my uniform. I call it a uniform. If I'm selling to a president, I mean, sometimes if I wear a sports jacket into an account and I'm going on the floor, those guys are not going to respect me at all, because they're going to look at me and go, "Who is this guy?" So to me, my favorite outfit is jeans, a nice shirt, nice shoes, and a sports coat. Because when I go to the president, I have my sports coat on, and he respects me because I'm wearing a sports coat. We'll go out on the floor. Oh shit! I better take this off. And you got to go to the guy on the floor, because you have to sell who you are. And that the 65-year-old is number one guy. Not only the first place gets a trophy. The guy on the floor was brought up in a world where everybody gets a trophy.
There you go.
You have to adapt.
There you go.
And that's I was with 17. I learned that from working with 17 different sales guys that I've managed.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, everybody's different. You can't make robots.
And that's, you know, actually that was the problem with one of the companies that I was with, is they had this script. It's very rigid.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you guys sell longer than me. You guys know the history. Just these rigid scripts. If you don't do it, you don't sell it our way. And as you say, we're out of those times in a sense, right? We're more adaptable, more situational these days. Is that safe to say, everybody?
Yeah.
Safe to say? Okay, cool.
Well,
Let's go.
There's a couple reasons for that.
Okay.
You know, if I was buying something, well, the other day I was looking at filtration system for my house, water
Right.
filtration. And this guy came up, he had that script memorized. He was just knocking it through it, and I was intentionally jumping around, interrupting him, throwing him off, and he finally got so frustrated, he just closed up the thing and left.
I got a question. Would you have respected him more if he stayed in those objections and worked with you on the solution?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you would've, right?
Yeah, but he didn't. I mean,
But he didn't.
because he couldn't, because he was just going off track completely.
It was so rigid.
And in our business, you know, we're selling to people that are very intelligent people.
Mhm.
I'm not saying they're highly educated, because maybe not, but they're super intelligent. And if we come in with a script, all right, I'm gonna pick on John, say John's been selling tools for a long time.
Right on.
He does it this way, boom, 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 boom. All right, and it works for him. He's been very successful. But if I try to emulate what John does, it's gonna look fake. All right?
Absolutely.
So what I can do is I can pick up aspects of John's approach and incorporate that into my approach and make my approach better. It's not better than John,
But better for you, right?
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go, because you implemented your personal style in that.
Exactly.
Now, it does take time to integrate that, right? Because I watch a lot of sales training and do a lot of sales training. I may hear Busi Thembekwayo, he's a really good speaker in South Africa. I have to now implement that in my teaching today, right? So it takes that little time to integrate. Is it safe to say? Okay.
Let me supplement a script.
Okay.
Typically, when you ask if there's a script, it's implied that it's a verbal communication. When in fact, we do have a script.
Okay.
What is it?
What's the script, guy?
It's solution based. You listen to the customer, find out what he wants, and then address it.
Mission statement?
The right angle inquiry form.
Yeah, okay.
The what, I'm sorry?
The right angle inquiry form.
It's an
Then-
information gathering.
You can personalize the questions that you lead into that inquiry. But it's your job, and I was hoping that one of these two would, you know, that is your job.
But
You can open up, give the warm and fuzzy, establish the rapport, then you've gotta go into it, but at each point, you have the opportunity to discover where the pain is.
yeah, I was gonna say, you don't lead off of that, that's not.
No, you gotta listen,
but
do
that's
that
your-
listening and then.
That's your,
Sure. That's the structured part of it.
That's the
sales.
That's the
structure.
facts, that's the fact
Yeah.
seeking,
Yeah.
that's the
Right.
fact seeking, but that's not the sales part, I mean, that's the fact seeking part.
Yeah, we don't have anything like, hello, my name is Chris Mullen. And I
Yeah,
work
that's
at
what
school."
more or less what
Yeah,
we're talking.
yeah.
Yeah, as long
I've
as
had
you-
those jobs.
You know what I'm talking about. I mean, your earlier days, I bet, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, rigid. Okay, good.
and the illustration that he gave a couple of minutes ago about the customer that failed to mention the cycle time shifted the paradigm completely.
Didn't it though?
It was a totally different tool,
Yeah,
totally
and
different price.
And he was trying to gloss over that, and if I wasn't actively listening, I would have been waiting to respond to whatever he had said and not have heard that.
How many salesmen, and you guys, man, you guys have trained big teams, right? Some of you sales managers I'm hearing, and I get a couple head nods there. How many of you guys on the daily or in your previous experience kind of see a lot of salesmen coming into conversations ready to talk and never to listen? That's pretty common, isn't it?
Happens all the time when
There
we
you
work
go.
with distributors, there's
Okay.
a lot of assumptions that are made. And then you have to use your gestures and your nonverbal cues to get them to stop.
Okay.
That's the biggest, one of the
Strictly
biggest
body
obstacles.
language
Yes.
to redirect the conversation, otherwise you come across as smart ass or rude.
They came right, yeah, exactly. It becomes like, I don't need any of that, and then they look poorly on me, so you
And-
have to redirect that conversation.
And then just a bit, we're gonna actually, all of you gonna kind of role play what that facial expression, what that expression looks like. The same way I kind of did. I did it light and it kind of didn't do the best job, but kind of just closed off. But there's gonna be a lot of different facial expressions you guys encounter on the daily that you are already aware of that I want to practice and get you guys more familiar with. John, you keep smiling at me, man. You gotta stop. So it's gonna, he's killing me. He loves this because I told him what I was gonna do today. I told him I'm a man of my word. So we're gonna practice that later.
One
Listen,
question.
what you got?
In that,
Okay.
will you teach listening to the tonality of the customer's voice?
Of course, cause I'm a customer. Well, I'm not a customer, but I do this for
Just
speaking.
as important as the verbal, as the physical, visual body language cues.
I gotta be honest with you. The last group I had, eyes closed. All they heard was my voice. We did that 3 times. So you guys are gonna eyes closed today, glasses off. I see a lot of fellas with glasses. Just listen. All right. I'm gonna play with you. I'm gonna play with your mind a little bit today. That's the point of today. Right? As a speaker, we have to practice tonality, right? Inflection, deflection, right? A lot of pauses, stuff like that. Okay? So you'll see that in just a bit. This is just the icebreaker. Let's do it. What is one thing, right? So what is the one thing, no matter how much capital or money you have, money cannot buy? So what's the one thing money cannot buy?
Relationships.
Bingo, that's one. Come on, that's the big one, y'all know this.
Time.
My character.
Well, honestly, everything you all said, first off, but let's go through it. So, relationships, would you like to elaborate on that, or?
I said time.
Yeah.
Oh, you said time?
Yeah.
Who said
Relationships.
Okay, so time, expounding in relationships, and we're coming to you next. Happiness, love, anything else? And the reason, the actual answer I was looking for was time. Honestly, because that was a time management skill question we're gonna get into later. These are just small things, guys. Really nice icebreaker. Anybody want to expound on what they said? Happiness, time. Want to go in detail, understand it a little better? Because some people say money is more. Some people say let's time is money and money is time. Right? In sales, for time management purposes, we have to spend a lot of our time prioritizing the things that give us the best results. Safe to say? And it seems like a lot of people, you all hear it too, a lot of people don't really like a salesman, right? They say that all we want is money, all we want is to sell them something, right? Is this what you hear on the daily? Just about?
Now you can tell when salesman's lying, that's when his mouth is moving.
Like that, like the guy that came over to your house, right? So let's continue. Any other feedback there? Time, money, happiness, things like that?
See, I think for some people, have a problem with happiness and because people think money buys things and things bring happiness, and so money can buy some form of happiness,
Okay.
but the things that money can't buy are things like the time, because no matter what you do, you can't back up 2 seconds. You can't back up 1 second, and get that back, no matter how much money you throw at it. So those are the things I would look at and say, okay, what is it that money can't buy,
And that's actually the answer. All those answers, happiness and time, those are great answers. The time was the one I was looking for because it's literally the one that can't backtrack. Like, you can't even get part of it. Happiness, like you say, you can buy more stability. You can go get a bigger home. Nothing wrong with that, building a home, right? For the family, taking care of the kids, all that good stuff. And you get some satisfaction in that. But that time, like, we literally can't get the seconds back. And as you all know, right, sales trainers and all, that's the one thing as salesmen we need to work on prioritizing today and maximizing in our allotted time. Right, how we doing, Jeff? Any feedback there? You good?
I'm good.
You good? Okay, cool. The next topic I want to go by, guys, is this a negotiation question? And you're probably like, Aaron, well, you have these different bullet points and we're still in the icebreaker. Well, the reason I'm doing that is because it's introducing us to what's coming next in the conversations we're about to have. So the next bullet point, guys, is a negotiation topic. Here we go. When you hear the word negotiation, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you negotiate? What is that?
Objections.
Objections?
Compromise.
Compromise. Let's take a second. Compromise. Anthony, compromise.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh, I'm about to hear it. I'm about to ask for yours next.
I started from the get-go. I'm gonna win.
Okay, we're gonna see.
So what do I have to do?
We're gonna see. Negotiation. Compromise. Explain compromise. Who said compromise? Yeah, explain it.
Well, typically in the negotiation, people start on the extreme ends where they want to be. This purchasing guy wants the absolute cheapest thing. The salesman wants to get the most money that he can for his product. Through evaluating the scenario, looking at the objections, working your way through, salesman has to come down a few dollars. That's already built in there to give away. But the key is to position yourself so that the purchasing guy, it's his idea, that he pays more for it. You have to position yourself to win.
Have to position ourselves to win in negotiation. Positioning ourselves to win in a negotiation. How are you guys doing that, David? How do you position yourself pre-call, right? Pre-$1 million, pre-$10 million deal. How are you guys positioning yourselves to win in negotiation? Now, we're not talking about the basics, right? We all know the simple terms, right? The reviewing the company, maybe have a friend. How are we positioning ourselves to win in negotiation in particular?
It's really about finding balance and equality.
There you go.
And that's the preparation for the negotiation.
Finding balance. How do we find balance before the negotiation, if the negotiation hasn't started?
Through the questions, through the conversation of said and not said.
Right on. Anybody else? How do we finding balance in negotiation, and what does that mean?
So I'm not in the day-to-day sales side of things,
Okay.
but, a couple of years ago, I read the book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He was a hostage negotiator. And just that mindset of the conversation, finding the black swan in the conversation. What do they have, or what do they need that I have something that I don't even know about yet? So, just listening to find where are my opportunities, where can we mutually benefit, and, compromise, both of you lose if you go into it with that mindset. If you know where you need to be, establish that and get them to do the "that's right" or "that's it" comment, where they see you as the solution, as the provider. And so, like I said, I'm not in the day-to-day negotiation.
Oftentimes, the success or failure of the negotiation has nothing to do with what you think.
Explain it more. Let's go in detail.
Well, the first thing we heard thrown out was price.
Yeah.
It's not always about price.
And I found it, and I'm a young guy now, and I came from humble beginnings, and so I found a lot of times in the sales, it's actually not about price. Like honestly, I found that if you structure your words right, for example, $1 million a year, $83,000 a month, if you break that to weekly, a lot of companies actually can do it, right? And so it's usually, like you say, Anthony, it's actually not about price. It's usually about what? What do you think? When they throw out price, what are you seeing are underlying?
Come back to what I said at the beginning. It's about balance, and it's about fulfilling the needs of the person on the other side.
And the salesman has to justify it.
100%. Explain.
So, when the customer says, "Give me your best price," it's like, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. And I'll say that to him. Let's start at the beginning. You called me in, you had this problem. By buying this product, I'm saving you this much money every hour, every day. What's that worth to you? Don't talk price. You've got your justification here.
Sure.
So I'll tell you what, you make me an offer.
That's
I
how
throw it
I-
right on him.
I do the same thing. I say, you know what, actually, how much is this worth to you? I mean, you came to me the other day, right? You told me, hey, Aaron, we needed X, Y, and Z. All I did, I'm the guy that's here in that situation for you, right? How much is that worth to you to fix? I'm guessing the next year, if you're not gonna fix it, you're looking at losing at least $375,000 out the gate. I mean, turnover's high, your products aren't coming in, vendors are still slow from China from COVID, right? So having them throw the offer, that was a slight example of putting the ball in their court, controlling the frame of that conversation. A lot of people go into negotiations and say they want the authority. They got to be the loudest in the room talking. They need to be the first in the room talking. What's your take on that?
Bad idea.
Bad idea. I hear bad idea. And who wants to?
I agree. If you've shown that you've added value and you get the sign off and they say yes, and you ask them directly, is this added value to your company? And you have the buy-in from the customer. There's no reason to be in how you say, because you've already proven that you added value.
100%. So you're showing through action instead of all that. The salesman, blah 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 blah.
None of
right?
that matters.
We're not doing. Thank you. None of that matters. Any last touches on that, Anthony?
I think there's another aspect that's very prominent today.
Okay.
And you hear the word, bean counters are running the companies. It's true. The role of the salesman in the discovery phase is to extract bits and pieces of information that can enable him to come back and say, this is a return on investment. It's all based on what you said. This is gonna cost you X if you don't do it. This is gonna save you. John did a very good presentation on solid fix. How much is it
Good job, John.
save you, in real dollars? Those are the things that when the guy you're interfacing with walks away to the person that approves it, is looking for.
You need that person to be your champion within the company. That is crucial, because the bean counters don't care. But if someone that is invested in it and has they bought in on the value you're adding, and can prove it with hard numbers, They said the bean counter, yeah, this costs more, but this is how much we're gonna save. And they had
Wonderful
to look at
point.
it.
Wonderful. Well, we're gonna come back to that. Anthony, I want to say something here. We talked about this on the phone, me and you and John, and we talked about the salesman not taking ownership of the full sales process. Maybe making a sale, thinking that their job is over. I have a question. What's the difference between? Is that my next question? Not next. I had this later maybe. What's the difference between a salesman and an entrepreneur or a CEO? Is there any difference? Both like chase revenue. Both take ownership of the sales process. Obviously, one looks over a lot more people, right? That's that's obvious. But what's the difference? The goal is, I'm hearing a lot of salesmen say, my job is to make contact of the client, make a sale, push them to customer service, and leave them alone. How? How's that possible? When we're in customer service, we didn't serve the customer yet, did we? We sold them something, sure. We gave them a solution. We did the consultative expertise approach. I'm hearing that a lot of salesmen are kind of dropping the ball there. Anthony, are you seeing, John, is that something common that you're seeing?
Let John answer that, because I think he has a good.
He has an answer for that? John, I would like to hear.
I have a brain block at the moment because I had another thought that I was holding to say to what you're talking about, because I have to go back to, let me come back to that. Let me say this and then ask the question again, because part of this negotiation that you talk about is a lot of times we think it's at the end. It's at the very end, and it becomes down to price and delivery. But that's not true, because part of the negotiation is the wrap up. It's the note taking from the very beginning to record the key components that what brought you in to start with, the key elements of which.
It starts when you walk in the door.
Yeah, right.
Literally.
And when you wrap up, it's one of the things I told you on the phone when I talked to you.
Sure.
What I like about the conversations that we have is you listen, and then you come back and restate what you just heard. And we don't do that a lot of times. So salespeople don't do that in part of the negotiation. To sit back to say, now, let me tell you what I heard. This is what you said was important to you, and here's the elements of which I'm supplying a product for you to help you alleviate those points that you said were the most important to you. Did I do that? And I think once you get that answer, that changes the whole end of the negotiation.
It does. It does. I have a question too, and this is just bouncing ideas off of what you said. Do you all use this often? Now, I love the name approach, always throwing their name out there. So as you notice, I'm teaching today.
Yeah.
I've called Anthony and Jonathan quite a bit, right? I'm keeping the names flowing, keeping everyone engaged. I've called Jeff a couple times, Rocky, right? I'm going around the room getting the rest of the names more locked in. But do you all use the name approach often? I love that approach. It works so well. Oh my God, do you all? I'm
not in sales, but I know it means a lot to me if somebody knows my name.
Doesn't. Like, let's be honest, we're fellas, right? We respect that, right? You look at me in my eye and say my name, and I respect that, right? No matter what you do, if you could do that, that's solid.
Yeah.
So that's what I use. I would write that down and take, or even practice implementing that just a bit.
Okay.
Anthony, any? Okay, we got good feedback.
So you want to repeat your question to me, then let's see if I can
Good
answer
question.
it.
Yeah, so I have a big saying, and a lot of the newer school saying is more of a serving instead of selling.
Yeah.
Right? Selling was the old script, hello. I got a thumb up from that. The old script was that, hello, I'm Robert. Hello, this is Robert from CNN News.
Right.
How are you two?
Yeah.
That was selling.
Yeah.
I'm into the serving is better than selling.
Right.
And so my question to you was, it seems like a lot of salesmen are making the sales. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Great job.
Right.
Kudos, right? Hit your quota.
Right.
But they leave it off for like some customer service lady down the hall to handle it.
Okay.
They give the responsibility off to them. What's going on with that, and why are people doing that, and how can we solve that problem?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I told you today is deep. This is just the icebreaker, and we're about to take a break in a bit. This is the beginning, people.
Can I comment on that? I think,
Of course.
we've grown as a company on that, because I think 4
We
years
just
ago,
started.
I remember like when it was service, like it was, hey, we sold the tool, and then we went on and sold more, and then if they had a problem with the tool, we used to have them call Jeremy and you at the time. It's like that was their job. You know, and then we've kind of grown as an entity in the last 4 years, at least what I've seen is where now we do go out and help service after the sale. Because before we did used to pass it on because we weren't a team before. You know, 4 years ago there was less team. I think we've become more of a team with you guys. I mean, you've seen that. I mean, there's no other service guys, but I mean, you guys even told me before, it was salesman against service, and I think now we are more of a team. And we've grown that in the last 4 years. I mean, is that...
Yeah, no, I agree to that. Is that the question that you were asking?
100%.
Okay.
He hit that spot on. Not only did he brought up the example, so he did what you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
He re-brought back what we talked about, gave an example. He's doing well. I like that, Jeff. But yes, that's what I was talking about. I made the sale customer service to him.
Yeah, no.
When I gain you lost trust, right? I say I'll do something, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna check up on, like, that's honestly, we do that with our kids. If you have kids, like me and my brothers, hey bro, I give you $1. Hey man, that $1 I gave you, did you get everything handled? You got everything? Cool. Right, that's more of a wholesome approach, right? Serving instead of selling. Anybody have anything to say on serving instead of selling? Anything, any thoughts?
Yeah, I do, because now that I understand the question better.
Okay.
We bought a gauge for a product that the customer had that got from us that was broken.
Okay.
And that reminds me of that instant where we bought.
Went in.
Yeah, and the way that company approached it was so professional, because I called, got the product, ordered the product, they immediately let me know the product had shipped. Then they sent me, communicated with me that the product was delivered to my house.
Yeah.
Then followed up, wanted to know how the product was, and so on. So there was never a drop to that from the point of, okay, sales is done, now it's all this process. So the customer experience was complete.
For $50.
There you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't, guys, it's so simple. Like, the reason I'm young and can stand here is because I understand the simple things at this age. Let's keep it simple, right? It's the simple, it doesn't cost much. It literally could be a phone call, and it's just 2 minutes. I know you have your 100 sales calls of the day.
Yeah.
It's the little things, people. Keep going.
Yeah. So I walked away with that, and I said, this was the most professional approach that I've ever seen a company do for such a simple little product that we got. But it left a huge impact on what we do. Now, Ron took that and said, okay, I can implement some of this from our side, and so he started implementing some things that he does, some follow-ups, when we get an order and then order confirmation, and sometimes if a tool ships, and then the notification goes, so we've learned a little bit from that experience that it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't mean it's not my responsibility not to do it, So the customer comes to me and he wants me to be the connection to the company.
100%.
He does not necessarily want to know who Jason is, or who Rocky is, or anybody else. He wants one communication, and he wants me to know what's going on with his business.
100%. And I was gonna, before we move on to the last topic before the break, I was gonna talk to that. So I heard earlier, relationships. What is a relationship without the customer service after the part? If we're gonna be the point of contact.
Yeah.
So they teach at a young age, right? Relationships is how this world works. Well, wouldn't the relationship be cut in half if we're not finishing the sale after? We can't have that, right? I mean, going forward here and now, I think we should prioritize more than anything the sale. They're gonna, through our questions, identifying different points and helping them get knowledge around everything. That's gonna happen on its own. Like they're gonna sell us themselves. But where we come in as a point of context is the service on the back end. That's why Ben stands out compared to competitors. That's where the money is made. And everyone knows the money is made in the what? Follow-ups. One more time, we're gonna say the word follow-up. The money is made in the follow-up. The money is made in the follow-up. And that's the relationship building. So what they don't tell you, you'll go on YouTube, you'll go to different trainings, they tell you a lot of different things. The follow-up, guys, is only the relationship. That's why they say that. And people can't put those two together. They say, oh, just follow up. Well, yeah, if you look at it just as following up, the follow-up is the relationship. That is our main point of being here at Ben's today. Yes? Good. Let's go to the last point, everybody, and we'll go on break for a little bit. Okay. Let me see how long I did. Okay. So this is a reflection question. Now, if you guys weren't the executives or the managers you are today in this room, and you guys were actually a customer, a client, right? Someone that's looking for your solution, would you guys be satisfied currently, to this day, with the... Okay, well, before we, customer service already reached out, but would you all be satisfied with the service you're delivering on the day-to-day right now?
No.
And the reason I'm ending here is because I want to understand the problem with you all before I go into my real lesson. Give me some feedback, please, if you don't mind.
I like responding to customers like immediately.
Sure.
That's how I've always responded to my customers with my experience. And where we are now, we're not answering phones, we're not replying to emails. It's killing me in the business.
Okay. Now, my question to that, when I hear that, so guys, what I like to do is I like to speak out loud as my thinking is going, so everyone can understand the thought process. So when I hear that, like we said on the phone, I usually hear a couple things. Either there's not enough people, right? And I'm not here to go into any company politics or any culture or anything. This is just brainstorming. Not enough people, not enough initiative. Don't see the value.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Really? I mean,
Jeff?
yes, first one, I think initiative, I mean, it's his words, I think he has initiative out the yin yang, from my opinion, I'm not working with him on a daily basis, he has initiative. I think this dude's working overtime doing this, I'm sorry, dude, that sounded weird.
and I'm not saying you either. Yeah, me too. I'm not coming to him either, not at all. It's just maybe you represent other staff. Have employees under you, different customer service representatives, CSR roles. I mean, it's just kind of understanding what the problem is, right? Well, if we're not doing that, I usually believe. We all know that belief yields action, right? So that's why I told you all on the phone. That's how I can hurt that. You said intuitively. Well, it's quite simply, if we're not doing the action, then maybe we don't believe something or we don't have the confidence to do something. Are we the person we need to be to do the things we need to do? So a lot of sales guys, this is more like an interactive, I don't need to lecture, right? This isn't a lecturing day. No. It's an interactive, get to the bottom of the problem, understand it through going through the little implications and understandings. So in this case, it sounds like, do they understand what their job is and why it's important?
I think it's more, we don't have the processes and or people. Everybody wants to service the customer. And at one time we tried a phone service just because everybody is busy doing a thing.
Sure.
I mean, we're engaged and we're a small staff.
Okay.
Phone rings and I just cringe because I know that if I answer that phone or when I answer that phone, I'm gonna be derailed. It might be a quick answer, but more than likely it's not. And to get the answers that I need, this is gonna take me 15 minutes minimum, up to 2 hours, maybe more than that, and dealing with different departments to get the answer, dealing with the software that is really hard and not intuitive to find out what I need, finding the information to service the customer. And everybody is experiencing that. We're already short-staffed, overworked with a cumbersome system, and I just cringe when the phone rings.
It's like every little thing you start is a rabbit hole that it leads you down. Everything.
Okay. I have something to say too, and I want to see if you guys have ever heard it. We have some sales execs, some managers in the room. They say that the second sale is oftentimes most important than the first one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's not see. I hear people, they hear it, but let's go into it. So if the second sale is most important than the first sale, usually the second sale is going to come through either us calling them or them following up with us, meaning the phone calls are missing, right? Did you catch that? The money that the company either could be making or could be losing is in the customer service calls we're not answering.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're understanding the situation.
Good.
I mean, right now, we're one man deep. And every facility, one man.
And so it's only one man doing all of this. That's just, there's no team.
No, I mean, each man has got his own job, but there's no backup for him.
Every department is one person.
So
Except sales.
if someone's out, PTO, sick, whatever,
Yeah.
now, 2 other people have to take away from their time to backfill that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we get hit constantly with, I got this urgent request, you gotta drop what you're doing right now and take care of it. Well, wait a minute, I'm working on this for this customer. Don't care, this is more important to do this.
I understand it a lot better. You're right, I didn't, because I was thinking as I was bringing up the customer service, I thought team.
No.
You heard me say that? There's no team, right? And now it's actual individualized.
We've got a great staff inside, everybody wants to do their
Yeah.
job, they're just not afforded the time.
And I wish Anthony was here to say it, but like he says, he's doing 6 things at one time.
Yeah.
And that's when we do that, you just said, that's the bad thing, I can't do 6 things at
You
one
can't,
time.
yeah, you can't.
When you do 6 things at one time, you don't get 5 of those things, or it become less. And that's what you just said perfectly. I wish he was here to say it, because he's like, well, I'm doing 6 things at one
6
time.
things.
I can't listen to music and do it. No, we need, I mean, to me, we have, and that's the problem is, shipping is on vacation. These guys are out doing shipping now. And then they can't answer the phone when we need something.
We've got one person out on maternity leave.
Okay.
Another person was out because they're in a car wreck, broke their hand. Then on top of that, one person was sick, so we effectively were shut down.
So he's 2 days receiving product. And then those 2 days, he's not answering out an email,
Yeah.
but he had to, you know, but yeah, I mean, that's, we're a reactive company right now, we're not, proactive. We're not proactive, we're reactive 100%.
When
I don't, John, you've been here, I mean, I don't know if you can, I mean, you
Speak
know.
on that.
It's the way it is, it's the way it's been. You know, we've always been one-man team, we've never really, other than inside sales, we've had a 2-man, you know, before in the past, you know, but I understand that. But to me, that sometimes can be labeled as excuse. Because,
It's not an excuse, John.
And before we get right, once again, we're facilitating the conversation, and that's the point of today, right? That's the point of today, John. Everyone to say their piece. So we have an excuse, right? Notion. Now let's listen to our others. We're gonna come back to you, John.
yeah.
Let's hear some feedback, because we got to get to the root of the problem today, so we can solve it.
I was gonna say, when everything is urgent, nothing is urgent. And right now, everything, I gotta have this, so Kylie was out, she broke her arm, so I had a temp. The temp had to have surgery, so I got a temp for the temp. And I have a temp for Deanna, and I'm trying to help and facilitate, and none of these people know what to do, so while I've had 2 people standing there waiting to come to me with an answer. Meanwhile, I've got something I'm trying to finish, and I've got to answer them, make sure that they're busy and can do what they need to do and do what they need to do.
Hands full.
I'm one guy,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to do 6 things at a time, but it's hard. And
And we put a burden on you. I mean, John calls us and
that's
says,
my
hey, we need
job.
orders by the end of the week. We gotta have them in or end of the month. Let's do it. If we, like last week, we had to give them in on Friday. They get it on Friday. All deliveries are gonna be bad because of SAP, something, whatever. So I'm pushing. I go, Melissa, I got these orders replaced a few days ago. I mean, well, I'm still working from 5 days behind. And now I gotta turn her because, you know, shit rolls down, you know, whatever.
Sure.
So, hey, get the order in by Friday. I'm like, hey, I gotta get this order in by Friday. And then, you know, Melissa texts me Friday at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Hey, I did get the order in by Friday. So, you know,
Yeah.
But I mean, it is. But I had to take her off of her, you know, she has a line of things. So,
and she's got people coming to her because she knows how to do shipping, so the temp is coming to her, how do we do this, that's pulling her off of her job. We're just spread very thin and pulled in lots of different directions, and there's only so much that we can do. Everybody wants to serve the customer, but it's really hard
With the time.
processes and the time, the people that we have.
I'd really like to
Hey,
hear
what-
John, I'd like to hear John's response.
Yeah. And I actually was gonna put a pause now. John, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so, and I agree with you, and apologize for the thing, that is not an excuse, that is real, absolutely is a real. What I say is an excuse is when we use that as a crutch, and we know that somebody needs something for good customer service, and we know it for weeks and months, and it's not addressed, then that becomes an excuse.
I'll say to that is, I'm supposed to be the service manager, but my hands are tied with hiring the staff that I need.
Before we continue,
Yeah.
and this will conclude the first hour or so, and then open this up for more discussion later. The only reason I brought this up and paused you the first time,
Yeah.
John, is because I found that a lot of companies have difficulty scaling when it's like they forget that their greatest asset to the company are the employees. What we're doing right now, as you all know, is we're listening to one another and coming to a middle ground so that the company can keep growing and scaling at the right way, and we can solve that problem we talked about over the phone.
Sure.
So, any feedback from what these gentlemen have said before we go on break that you want to throw in there?
No, I agree with them, and I didn't think of it when I said it, because I was thinking of it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of the daily thing, and as they said, that is a problem, because when somebody is out, the shipping and receiving has to go. You know, it has to come in, has to go. Somebody's gotta do that, and I apologize, because I did not think of it in that direction. I was thinking of it from the customer service point of view. You know, would I be satisfied with where I'm at today, based with the company, and the information that I would need to supply? Yeah, that was the point of why I was coming from.
And also, these gentlemen are correct, because what I see it as, just from listening and getting a better understanding, because Ron gave me a better understanding, what's going on between the three that said things like the conflict and not having the time. I know how you look at it as customer service, but like, it comes from here. Like you said, it comes down. So I know that down here is hurting and it's costing money. Let's be honest, right? It's hurting right here and it's costing money, Jeff, right? But we need to, this is the most important. Like what they just said, there's so much money in the words that they just said here today. I don't think one might understand, right? Like this is where the money is saved and made in these rooms today. Mm-hmm. Hearing our actual employees say, hey, they may need a new process, different temp or partner, right? Different temp relationship with a different temp company, or a different system on when we hiring temp or employees, how to get them up to speed faster, right? There's a lot of creative things as the higher executives that can be done. But the only reason I stopped you when you first started is because that's the active listening that's going to turn this thing around.
Yeah.
Everybody, let's go ahead and get a break. It's about 9:47. We'll come back at 10 o'clock at the top of the hour.
Hey, John, if I send over ahead, and I want you